Hello, I'm Kelly Ott,
And I'm Lara Wakefield.
and we want to share with you a little bit about our business today. We have known each other for over 25 years now, and actually met in grad school and have decided to work together after all these years.
Yeah, we met at the University of Missouri. We were doing our master's program in speech language pathology, and we kind of went our separate ways after that, but found out we went on very similar journeys. And then we kind of came back, our paths crossed again, and we decided to go into business together. And we're celebrating 2 years of S.M.A.R.T.E.R steps being in business. And then we also work together in a therapy practice, and I do advocacy.
And I primarily do therapy and evaluations, and travel to different venues, different locations to help in schools and nursing homes and other practices. We were kind of laughing the other day about our friendship and our working relationship. And anyone that knows Laura and I knows how different we are. And so we just wanted to kind of share with you today a little bit about us and to let you know that two people on opposite ends of a continuum can be quite a great working partnership.
Yes.
It's been a very good outcome for us, and it's kind of funny to see the differences in who we are individually, but yet what we share together in our practice.
And we're able to have discussions, pretty deep discussions about therapy practice, the law, and research, and really dig deep into those and examine where I come from, where you come from, and have great collegiate discussions about that. And I think that's something that is really important to Kelly and me, is that we share those professionalism issues, because you are going to be working with people that are very different from you. They're going to have different beliefs, different backgrounds, experiences, and different philosophical standpoints, I would say,
For
on
sure.
how to go about doing therapy and how to engage in educational practices.
Yep.
So,
So let's talk about some of those differences, because we know what they are and our friends know what they are, but let's share them with you.
All right. You want me to start?
Go ahead.
well, let's start with the simple ones. We have a lot, but we'll just start with some simple ones. The first one is I live in a city, and which is kind of ironic because I grew up in more rural areas growing up, but now I live in the city of Columbia, and I tend to prefer big cities and big city life.
And I grew up in St. Louis, and now I live in a very rural location and prefer to be out on my own and away from all the hustle and bustle, even though I still drive to the city and work a little bit here and there. I travel mostly into rural areas and live in
Yeah.
rural areas, so it's about preferences.
Kelly spends a lot of time on the road doing
Lot of
her
time on the
traveling, and Missouri has a lot of rural areas. So for Kelly to do her mission of serving rural areas, she is on the road a lot, and we spend a lot of time on the phone consulting
Definitely.
during those drives. So
Yesterday, for
Yeah.
example, I drove 2 hours north from my home to a school, and then 3 hours from that school to Columbia to my office, and then another hour home. So I spent a total of 6 hours on the road yesterday, in addition to an 8-hour workday.
And I would say that that's the case for a lot of SLPs that serve rural areas, as they are driving 2 to 3 hours to work, because these schools don't have anyone living in the town that has the have the credentials
Right.
to provide the services. So that is a concern in our state. Another difference, I guess we could start off with, I'm not really an animal lover. I admit it. I don't have animal spirits, and I'm not an animal person.
Should we start with the ones in my house or outside of my house?
And Kelly's a little bit different.
Yes, I have a few animals. We'll just
I don't even know how many you have now, because we haven't even done the animal inventory
We
lately.
haven't, yeah. So I'm down a few, but I picked up a few others, so it usually averages out. So I have 2 horses outside,
Okay,
outside,
that's
not
new.
inside. That's important. Although there has been a horse in my house in the past, another story, another day. I have 2 very large dogs in my house and a smaller dog in my house, and I have a cat inside my house.
Okay.
And currently I don't have any chickens or any sheep or any other animals. Those are down to fish tanks and pets.
And what about the rooster?
He's gone.
Okay. When I stayed with Kelly a couple times at her house, the rooster had special needs, and he was a little off on his timing, and so he liked to wake people up at various hours. He wasn't really quite sure.
And he really liked Lara's car, the roof of her car,
God.
which freaked her out a little
Yeah,
bit.
I was terrified to get out of the car. I just stayed out in Kelly's driveway for 15 minutes, and I was texting you, "Help me!" There's a
He was
crazy
greeting
rooster.
her, but she sat in her car too long.
Yeah, I don't do animals, so that's one of our other
Yes.
differences. Another difference is I'm very much a Mac, Apple, iOS disciple, and very
I'm-
much enjoy those products.
I'm PC Android oriented, and while I'm not opposed to using other
Right.
devices,
Neither am I. I mean, I'm open to it. It's just,
we are constantly problem solving tech issues professionally because we use different systems, and so every digital piece of material, product, anything we create, we are
Yeah, yeah.
constantly problem solving tech wise.
yeah, because we have that, again, different experiences. I have that background. I've been Mac since 1986 and am most comfortable with it. Though in lots of jobs I've had to use PC in different products, so I can do it. It's just I'm more comfortable
Yeah.
with those products. So.
I think one thing, though, that has been positive about that is that we have a variety of tools available. And so, in all seriousness, we
Yeah.
joke about that, but in all seriousness, it has been good because there have been times where we've had to do a webinar and maybe the program or whatever we were using wasn't compatible with one device over the other. So it's been good that we have multiple options for
And it helps us
technology.
know, because we know that all the people that are watching our webinars and different things that we produce are going to have different products, and so it makes us
Yes.
be mindful of all those different options. when
Right,
we're
and
developing
we're accessible to everybody,
Yeah.
which is nice.
Mhm. Another one that's a big difference is kind of our background and how we grew up. I grew up in a very, what would we say, natural consequences type environment, not very structured. I had what some people might say is kind of, my parents were more of the hippie generation and agnostic background, and we didn't necessarily have very strict rules in our house, so it was sort of just figure it out on your own, laissez-faire type of parenting. And what about you?
In contrast, I grew up in a very traditional Catholic Italian environment. Belts and wooden spoons were my friend, so I can't imagine not having rules. There were everything was structured and rule based. Very different environment. I attended Catholic schools.
And I went to public schools. It's another thing. So we had different educational, although we both discovered that we spent some time with the same type of consequences, didn't we?
We did, for sure.
We were talking about how you had to draw a circle on the chalkboard and stick your nose in it and stand on one foot, and we both had that same consequence, even though we were in totally different school systems and states.
Although I rarely had that consequence because I was good in school.
And I was not, apparently, because I talked a lot. Can you imagine that? I got in trouble for talking a lot. And what's another difference?
There's so many.
I don't know. Well, I'm not a big drinker.
You had to go there. I own a winery. We'll just leave it at that.
A little different on how we are.
I guess the point in discussing these differences is that we really can come from very different backgrounds and have different beliefs and have the best, most collegiate working relationship with someone. And it can work very well, because I think the thing that we do share is our drive and our passion for professionalism and making sure that our clients come first and that we are serving those in need and the things that really should matter. Yes, our background and our experiences shape the people and the practitioners
Yes.
that we become.
Mm-hmm.
But in the end, if you truly believe in making things client or student centered, you're going to work together in a very collaborative fashion to make sure that happens. And I think that despite all of our differences, we have probably one of the best working relationships that I've ever encountered
Yes, and I would agree.
in my 23 years.
And we've worked in a lot of places
Yes, we
with
have.
a lot of great people.
Right.
And I think we've learned that we have to open our minds to some different things, and we have to step back and recognize the different perspectives
Mhm.
where people are coming from, and be willing to open our minds to it and listen to what they're saying, and be willing to recognize, oh, this might be a philosophy difference, or oh, this might be an experience difference, or oh, this might be this person's interpretation of the evidence versus my interpretation. And we need to sit down and just realize it's different interpretations, and you're not wrong and I'm not wrong. It's just we're coming from different places.
So next time you need to discuss something with a colleague and you know that you are disagreeing about it, think about where that person's coming from and what your end goal is. And hopefully that'll help guide you in how to work something out for your client.
Right?
Thanks for joining us today.
Well,